And we're live. All right, everybody. So while everyone trickles in, I'll go ahead and intro this bitch. So we got Happy Death Day to You, the sequel to Happy Death Day from 2017. It came out this past weekend. And I've got none other than CP from WILIScredia. He can pronounce it himself. But but we got CP in the house. Most of you should know him. A 30 probably have a restraining order against him. But for those of you that don't know him, CP, go ahead and incriminate yourself.
Hi, I'm CP. You could also know me as the other guy, chat entrant number one. Long. You've seen me before. There's no way you haven't.
Yeah, exactly. We know him. So we're going to discuss Happy Death Day to You. We'll probably keep it spoiler free for the first 10, 15 minutes or so, and then we'll dive into spoilers. And then CP wants to discuss the trailers because me and him had very different very different responses to the marketing of this movie. And it seems like a lot of people are very not really at each other's throats, but it's a very passionate debate that's been going on with the marketing of this movie. So we're going to get into all that, and then we'll leave some time for some chat questions and a little Ghostbusters time because some shit's gone down apparently. So we'll kick it right off. Let me say that, hey, Tyler Tompkins in the house. We got Nathan Oswald, Happy Guy, Chris Capps, Damian Walker, Joseph Wells, Matt's 96, Beth S., Andrew Loves Gore, and more trickling in. So this should be fun. So first off, I guess I'll let CP start us. Start with your thoughts on the first film, and then kind of your overall spoiler-free thoughts on Happy Death Day to You.
So the first one, at a first watch, opening day, Friday the 13th, I remember it came out October of 17. I wasn't properly prepared for it. Didn't expect it to be so funny, so for lack of a better term, doofy. So I was kind of taken aback by it, and I was like, man, it was just ridiculed horror altogether, and it was a bootleg Groundhog Day movie. And then, I think I saw it when it came out on home media, and I was like, this is quite fun. I don't know what I was bitching about.
You had one of your Lee moods.
Yeah, I definitely, and I feel like I'm going to do it again with this one. Like this is definitely like a Lee movie where it's just like, all right, going in, I'm one thing, and second time I'm completely the opposite. But yeah, no, it's fun. Like I invested way too much like expectation and pressure, and this is pre-Halloween, mind you. So. It wasn't like Hellfest or Suspiria this year, where it was like, well, at least Halloween's on the horizon, so it doesn't matter that much. I think I had it as the horror movie of 2017 or the Halloween season, and on a second watch, I quite enjoyed it. And same thing happened this time though. I went by some viral marketing and was like, all right, so they're gonna do the same thing. Horror comedy, and whatever, have some jokes about time travel, and wasn't expecting it to be so science-y. And I mean, anybody who says they weren't expecting a comedy and saw the first one, like that's where I kind of get on your side and like, guys, I don't know.
Yeah, what movie did you expect?
right. It's just it was so minimalist in the horror nature. I just wasn't expecting it to be, weird science like with all the sci-fi comedy, and Back to the Future 2. I've heard quite a bit comparisons, but I wasn't properly prepared for a sci-fi comedy, and I was expecting Happy Death Day 1, and it wasn't that. So I was like, what the fuck is this?
I hear you. So yeah, the first movie, I saw the trailer. I think everybody saw the trailer and they went, ugh. Like it was just it was a baby face mask or something. It was something about it, the derivative, same old.
I had Valentine vibes. Did you have Valentine vibes? Remember the mask from Valentine?
Yeah, exactly. So I think everybody that saw the trailer to the first Happy Death Day was kind of like, I don't know. And I remember I went and saw it, and I didn't even see it until like weeks after it released. I had one of those weekends where I think it was a Thursday night. Holly was home. I didn't feel like just hanging around. She's like, well, go see a movie. I'm like, well, fuck, what up? All right. Happy Death shit's still out there. So I guess I'll watch that. And I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. Like I knew it was going to be a little comedic because some people had said it was more of a fun movie than they thought. So I guess I was a little better prepared, but I walked in and I really enjoyed the comedy. I enjoyed kind of the the slasher background noise of the story. I really enjoyed Jessica Roth and her character arc because she's like the most insufferable bitch for like the first 15 minutes, and then she like goes on this big journey, and it gets really emotional like in the third act when she finally has that big speech with her dad, like that perfect day that she has. So I really enjoyed it. It ended up being like my second or third favorite movie of the year as far as horror goes, I think. But the second movie, so the trailer hits, and we'll talk about the trailer, but I was just like, oh, okay, so they're going to have the same thing, but it's going to be a little bit different. And I went and saw it, and I don't know if it's because I had already heard you kind of scoffing at the lack of horror and a couple other people that I was again well prepared to walk in, but I wasn't expecting the horror to be ramped up by any means. So I went and saw it, and I was pleasantly surprised at the different take that they had, because it was the same, but they kind of shifted around the amounts a bit. Like the comedy got boosted a little bit, the horror kind of got turned down, the science fiction got turned up. So I liked how it was a sequel that didn't just try to retread the same territory. It's like, oh, stuck in the same day again. And so I enjoyed it. I thought the comedy went a little into cringe territory, especially in one scene we'll talk about. But there was moments where I was like, okay, you could have punched up that comedy a bit. But I thought Jessica Roth was just as good as she was in the first one. I liked getting to know the other surrounding characters, and I didn't mind that the reveal or the slasher mystery of who the killer was kind of got turned down to a side story. So I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was as good as the first one. I think I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 or something like that. I would have gave the first one like a 4.25 or something like that. So it was a little bit of a step down, but for horror, especially horror comedy sequels, I thought it was actually a lot better than most. So overall, I pretty much enjoyed it.
I think you brought up Jessica Roth's performance. I think if there's one thing to take from both of these movies is that if she wants to, we have a new horror star there, because she knocked it out of the park in both movies. She was a shining moment person of both movies, if anything.
Yeah, and she does good with all three. Like she does good with the drama and the few spots that it needs her to. She does really good with the comedy, and she does good in the traditional slasher stuff where she has to run around screaming. So I would welcome, and I'll be pissed if I don't see her in more slasher or horror movies, because I don't know if she's been in anything before this franchise, but I certainly didn't know her name until Happy Death Day, and then after this I'm gonna be like, oh hey, it's her.
There's also that one heart-wrenching scene in the sequel where it's just like, man, she could do drama really well too. That scene at the birthday. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
we'll get into it here in just a second. Hey, Durbani is in the chat. So we got so we kind of went over our spoiler-free thoughts. We've both given our reviews. So this is everybody's fair warning. If you have not seen Happy Death Day to You, or if you plan on watching it, you don't want to know anything else about the movie, this is your signal to go ahead and click off, come back to this video after you've seen it. But if you've already seen it, or if you don't give a shit about spoilers, we'll take it away. So I'll pass it over to you and just kind of start wherever you feel like you want to start. Spoil the shit out of it.
Well, you said that the killer isn't that big a deal. They turned down the importance of that, which is fine. But there's that one where they go through so many different timelines and alternate universes and whatever the fuck it was. There's one where they catch the killer, and it's the Asian guy. Yeah. And he's like, you got to kill them, and they're like they're arguing with each other, and then that's it. We never hear about him again or why he was doing that.
They never go back to it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to know why did he get to that? What happened there? And they just totally just steamroll it and never bring it up again. And it's inconsequential. And it's just like, wait, why? How did he get to that? And why? And because it was basically her that was doing all the saving from that point out. So it was like, I think I was more pissed with this movie because of the things that they could have done and just kind of cock teased, like, oh, imagine if we just did this. Oh, but you're not gonna get it. That was the first thing that really jumped out at me. Like, all right.
Yeah, that hit me. Well, we got a super chat. Aaron Anderson, $5. Thank you, sir. Still on the road working. Just want to say you guys are much needed. Glad to be entertainment. So that whole thing kind of hit me as I was walking out of the theater. Like, it didn't really dawn on me while I was watching the movie. When the ending came, when the credits came, I waited for the post-credit scene and everything like that. So it didn't dawn on me until like we got up, we walked out, we threw the popcorn bucket away, we're walking outside, I walked to my truck, and I stopped. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck was going on with that one dude? Like, run back into the movie. Hey, wait a minute. To me, it feels, especially with that post-credit stinger, it feels like something that they're probably going to leave for the third movie.
Right.
You know, they're going to. I say that I don't want a third one, but it's going to make enough to justify a third one, I think. Even though
I hope so. It kind of stumbled this weekend, but
yeah, but Blumhouse, you know, you could have a bad weekend and still be profitable. So, but if we do get a third movie, I'm assuming they were leaving stuff like that to explore, because they have to have something else to go to. Because the first movie never explained the time loop. We never really asked for it to, and then you get to 2, and 2's like, oh, now we're going to explain that stuff. So, but yeah, it was interesting because they pull the mask off and it's him, and I'm like, oh, multiverses and all this other stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's either something that they chose not to get into for time, or not step on their own dick with trying to write too much crazy stuff, or what. If they just wanted that as to be like the inciting incident that gets us back into the time loop, and then it never mattered, I guess. It is
strange that they do that, because the first one, it's like you said. Well, I mean, Emily and I both, when we got back, we were just like, the one thing that you could say about this movie is unnecessary. The first one, it's not like you left it saying, oh man, why was there a looping day, and what, like they resolved it. She was getting killed. She killed the person that killed her. That's it. She closed the loop. But to go out of their way to explain things and then leave all these like morsels of holes, it was quite bizarre for them to do such a thing. Like, you didn't have to do this. Like,
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I'm with you. So that definitely was the one thing where it was like, after I walked out of the theater, I was like, I don't know. So we'll see. But since you brought it up, one of the things we were talking about, emotional stuff. So one of the biggest things that they kind of have is the storyline, at least for her character arc in this movie, because she's not really growing as a character in this one. She's already made the growth. Now it's more so she gets into this alternate universe, and she finds out that in this new universe, she's not dating, what's his name, Carter. Her frenemy is dating him. But on the flip side of that, her mother's alive. So she's like, well, shit. Now I have to give up my love, but my mother's alive. And then the whole movie, for the most part, she's kind of going through this struggle while she's trying to get back. She's also struggling with it. Like, do I really want to go back? Can I live without Carter, or can I live without my mom? And I got to admit, like, I didn't really mention it in my review, but I don't know if I totally buy the resolution that they come to with that, because I mean, yeah, she spent like what, 11 days or whatever with the guy in the first
11
movie.
day ones, as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, exactly. So 11 day ones. So it's like, it's like 51st dates, but there's only been 11 of them.
Yes.
So she's been with the guy for 11 days, and then immediately she's thrown into this universe where her mom, which is one of the biggest pieces of her character in the first movie, this hole in her heart, hole in her life, is there. And she ends up coming to the conclusion that this life is not hers. Like, her mom being alive and Carter not being there, this is somebody else's life that she would just kind of be taking up the reins for. And she decides to go back and be with Carter, let her mom go back to being dead, and relive the life that she has lived. And I just don't know. I know the themes that they're going for. I know the character growth that they're going for, and what they're trying to say about, being yourself and, not living somebody else's life and everything like that. But I don't know if anybody would really make that decision. You know what I mean? Like, if your parent, who you like love to the point where she's giving these big emotional scenes, is back, you're going to sacrifice them to be with this guy that you've known for all intents and purposes for a couple of weeks. And not only that, but it felt like it would have been just as easy for her to stay in this multiverse and just bring him around to dating her anyway. Because it seemed like he pretty much liked her to that point where he was going to leave what's her face anyway. And then she ends up like cheating on him in one of them or some shit like that. So it's just like, you could have your cake and eat it too. Yeah, exactly. So that was the only thing that for whatever reason, it didn't really dawn on me to speak on it in the review. Or maybe it's because I was trying to keep it kind of spoiler free, but that was one of the elements where I was kind of like, I don't think that would work out that way. It felt like it was I don't know. It just the resolution there I didn't quite buy. I'm like, as much as she loved her mom, I don't think that would even cross her. She'd be like, whatever, fuck Carter, I'm staying here.
That's a rough decision. I mean, shit. If you asked me to to choose not being with Emily, who I've been married to for over a year now, or have my father back for half a week, that's a rough decision for me to make. Like it's not a one day. Okay, like it's a little bit more serious than that. But whatever, light comedy.
Emily's not in the room, is she?
No.
I just see her head pointed up. Oh, that'd be a difficult decision, wouldn't it?
Bye. I'll make it for you.
But yeah, so I liked all the taking the logic out of it. I loved what it gave us for her character, like all the emotional stuff, because she was great. Like whenever she had to actually say goodbye to her mom without saying goodbye to her mom, that shit was pretty heart wrenching. So I really appreciate that side of it. But logic wise, I was like, I don't know. You could have wrote it a little differently and at least made it to where maybe he was actually in love with this other chick and not just such a superficial relationship, something, an extra detail in there.
And them explaining the reason that she woke up next to him was because she was drunk and he was being a sweetheart. And like, really? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I like where she was just kind of like, oh, so Mr. Innocent guy, huh? I just woke up in your bed. She's already like, you wanted his ass. Like, that's basically what she was saying. But yeah, that was a lot of fun too.
They also added that thing where the more she died, she was actually getting sick or
weaker.
Whatever that new introduced element was, that her stomach was hurting. And guys, I don't know how many more times I could do this because I might really die. How do you know? Where did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah. Did they have that in the first movie? I don't remember.
No.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I was like, I don't know if they explored this in the first one, but it felt like she died more in the first one. But then again, they kind of montaged it, so you never really get a hold of it. That montage was a lot of fun this time, though. I really liked whenever the one, it's in the trailer, but whenever she skydives in a bikini, she's just like, oh! And they show her for a split second before she hits the ground. She's like, hits the ground.
I don't think that was in the movie, but I do remember that.
Yeah, it was in the movie.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember.
It was Carter and what's her face was sitting there making out, and somehow I guess she was able to pinpoint.
Oh, right, and she was going to drop in your lap or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Holly Jones in the hat. In the chat. I didn't know you were doing a live stream tonight. Yeah. Surprise.
Is she home?
No, she's at work.
Oh.
I don't think she's home. Is she?
But they'll just talk about wives and parents.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. I'm trying to think of more something. Well, we could talk about the identity of the actual killer, because that's really the only other spoilerific stuff to really talk about. So they kind of they insert one little scene randomly into one of her days where she looks over and she sees her professor, her old boyfriend, just kind of talking to the wife. And I remember I never really put too much thought process into who the killer was, because they turn it down so much. I honestly didn't even care. It's not even really much of a focus.
It really doesn't even matter, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of like, I don't really care who it is. But we look over and that one scene is inserted so randomly. I was kind of like, that's probably going to come into play later. And come to find out, they pull a little bit of a Scream 2 type thing where they pull the mask off, because the chick who was the killer in the first movie, she now has to try to save because she's not a killer. And the dude pulls the mask off. It's the professor, and her friend was cheating and not her. And the wife is in on it and all this crazy shit. So then it turns into I was getting Scream 2 vibes, where it was just kind of like, my wife told me I had to do it. And then she just shows up behind her with a gun, like, yeah.
Wasn't it the actual serial killer for a hot minute too? Wasn't it in the middle or in the beginning where the killer was actually him for at least one of them?
Basically what they were doing, they were swapping it, because in the first movie, her roommate kept releasing this serial killer so that there would be an alibi for when she killed her. Somebody would think it was just him. And the teacher was, I guess, coming to the same conclusion. I'll just release this fucking whack job, and whenever I go kill the chick over here, they'll just assume he did it. So yeah, it was the same thing where he was nothing in the movie. I don't even think he had a line. Every time he woke up, she would just shoot him. She's like, bam, all right, problem solved. so yeah, they kind of had the same thing going on with that. And then come to find out it was the professor and the wife, which kind of was my assumption in the first movie, honestly. I don't know if maybe that's why they did it. he was kind of the one I was assuming was the killer the most in the first movie. I was like, he has the most reason to kill her. If there's the wife is kind of getting a little bit testy, and he's got some shit he wants to hide. So I don't know if maybe that was something left over that they played with, or if they just kind of took the reception and most people thought that it was him, or however they wanted to do it. But I thought that was interesting. He ends up being the killer, and I was like, oh, well, okay. I thought it was him the first time.
Yeah, it is strange how he's the red herring twice.
Yeah,
but I mean, like it's like we kind of repaved over. The killer isn't really that important. It's about Tree going back and buying time and remembering all their failed what the fuck science project. I don't know what the fuck you call it when they were trying to figure out how to
all the failed equations and shit.
Yeah. And she had to memorize it, and that was cute. That was a nice little touch. But the killer really didn't matter.
They almost forget about it in the movie too.
Right.
They're like, all right, we gotta solve the. Oh shit, yeah, we got a killer. We gotta go take care of. All right, we gotta go do this shit real quick. We'll be back. Oh man.
So while they're going, I think she's going to the hospital, or the boyfriend person's going to the hospital, and they're trying to steal the science orb back. That is perhaps the greatest comedy scene in the history of cinema, where the slutty sorority girl has to act as a blind French student. Hijinks ensue, and that was fun, huh? That was a nice tight scene. Wasn't too bloated at all.
The problem is even before you get to that scene, like they take the two most ridiculous characters in the movie. You got this Dean who is ridiculous from the first time he shows up. I mean, he's straight out of like you said, Weird Science. He's straight out of a movie like that. And then you get the frenemy. I can never remember her name, but like the chick that she's supposed to be friends with, but she can't stand.
I think it's Danielle.
Danielle, yeah. I think so. Has this thing where she's trying to be, what is it, like in a play or some shit.
Yeah.
And so they get the scene where she comes in and she's doing the most like cartoonish, like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon show version of a French person would come in, and the fucking Dean is played into it for like a good 10 minutes. Like he actually it's not like he's like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, you're not French. He's actually like, oh my God, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're blind. And he's totally into it. And it's played for laughs, but it's so hokey and so corny long. Yeah, exactly. If it was a quick little 2-minute scene, but yeah, it's like, oh my God. And it takes all the way until the alarm goes off for him to pull her glasses, like, you're not blind, and then walks away like gotcha. Yeah, there was moments, like singular moments in the movie where I was like, that comedy wasn't all that great. But that one scene is where I was like, oof. Like that's a whole like half a letter grade for that one fucking scene right there.
Yeah, it was painful.
Yeah, it was
and
rough.
Oddly enough, Tree wasn't in that scene, so
yeah, exactly. Funny how that works. Now let me did you stay for the post-credit scene?
There was a mid-credit scene where so when they opened this office and Danielle was put up for this test or whatever, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Like some government organization comes and takes them all while they're doing their community service, I guess. And he's like, we need your help. And they have the Sally or whatever the fuck they called that machine. And
Sissy, I think it was Sissy.
Fucking Holly. Every day I wake up without an engagement ring. It's like I'm reliving the previous day. It's painful.
Happy death days, Holly, without the ring.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love you too. So we got so we get that scene, and I was kind of like, where are they going with this? And then I don't know if that was just played for laughs or if that's genuinely where they're going to take this third movie if we get one where Danielle is going to be subjected to this now or not. But because of that one scene alone, I was like, I don't know if I want that.
Yeah, I mean the Asian kid. Again, like they better at least go back and just give me why he was set to kill people. Like what the fuck? What drove him to that? I mean, I'm fine with whatever the fuck. I mean, I guess I'll be better prepared this time, unless it's going to be like a comedy drama or just a drama. Yeah, I'm not expecting a specific genre if they do another one, but it's just if you're going to go back and explain things, I want to know what was going on there. I mean, you better have Tree in it because shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The absolute star.
Yeah. So I don't think they would divert all attention. It would be like the same thing. It would be Danielle for the opening scene, and then they'd be like, oh, let's get back to Tree. But, well, that's an interesting topic we can talk about though. Assuming we're going to get a third one, what would you even want it to be?
Like I said, listen, do patchwork. You already alluded to Back to the Future too. They're gonna. I'm assuming this would take a little bit extra budget, but like have things where they're going back and interacting with stuff from the previous movies, where you know you could show a la Marty McFly at the Enchanting Under the Sea, whatever the fuck that dance was. Like have them interact with things that happened in the first and second movie. That's what I would want. If you're going to keep going forward with the comedy element, then lean into it.
Exactly, that would be interesting. So yeah, I'll steal your answer because I don't want a third movie. Even though
I'm fine if they're done. I really am.
Yeah, even though I really enjoy the first one, and even though I still enjoy this one, I'm like, okay, inevitably the third one's going to be a little bit worse. I don't see them pulling more rabbits out of the hats for the third one. So that would be an interesting thing though, to see him, like, that would explain why he was there, and they could at least tie into that, and then he could show, like, Tree like looking down a hallway and seeing herself getting ready to shoot somebody, and then she goes down the other hallway, and it could be fun. So yeah, that would be interesting.
Holly, if it makes you feel any better, I am married and I don't have a ring, so rings aren't necessary.
That'd be a way to fuck with her. Just marry her and don't give her a ring.
Do you want the eternity with me, or do you want the piece of metal?
Yeah, I want the piece of metal. Next. Oh man. Well, I don't know if there's really a whole lot more to talk about with this movie. Is there more to talk about?
Well, yeah, I mean, this might be a palate wetter for if we're going to go Saturday, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have a similar version of this conversation.
Yes, because we're supposed to be talking about this on Scream Stream inevitably, because that's really one of the only things to talk about right now, unless there was some Halloween news. But we have Lee, who is very strongly leaning in CP's direction, maybe even a little bit farther, because
perhaps I influenced it.
Yeah, well, Lee was not a fan of the first movie. I remember I recommended him go to see it. I was like, you'll like it. Just I basically really prepared him for it. It's not gory, which was really my only negative with the first one. It's more comedic, this and that. And he walked out and he's like, I don't really like it. I think he liked it more on rewatch. Surprise. But it was but the second one, I remember him walking out, and I think his comment on Killer Flicks was like woof or something like that. So I don't think he liked it.
You know what? To kind of amend what I answered about the third one, make it rated R.
Yeah. If they were going to do that, for sure. Yeah. I don't think they will, but
if you're going to kill people a bunch of times, like, seriously fucking kill people.
Dude, I'm telling you, if they had just that one element, if they had made it rated R and we had like some gory, like Final Destination style kills in that first movie, tell me that first movie would not be like a whole letter grade better.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like every time, there's the comedy, the physical comedy of seeing her die over and over, but not having it be cutaway kills, I think would be fucking gold.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they would ever do it because they've proven they don't have to. But if I was in charge, I'd be like, make that shit rated R. Let's go. The pussyfooting around. Yeah. But yeah. So as he was saying, look forward to this Saturday, hopefully, maybe Sunday. I don't know, sometime this weekend when we're going to be doing Scream Stream, as long as nothing comes up, and we'll have even more of a heated debate because CP's got somebody in his corner. I have no idea if Brian's even seen it or if he cares to see it, and Lindsay probably hasn't seen it, but. So it'll be me versus two people instead of me. But we're getting out of the spoilers. So what he's alluding to is the trailer and the marketing. So one of the biggest things that CP and quite a few others, including Lee, seem to have a big problem with Happy Death Day to You is that the marketing for them really seemed to showcase the slasher element and the horror element. And then you get into the movie and they're like, surprise, surprise, that slasher shit's like background noise, barely. And it's more of a sci-fi sequel. So you have, and it seems the fan base is pretty split with that. Like in Killer Flicks, you can see a lot of debates going. It seems it's either one camp that is pissed that the horror got turned down and felt like they paid to see a movie that was advertised to them that they didn't get. And then the other side of the camp, which I'm on, which is grateful that we didn't get the same movie. Didn't really get too much of an idea that it was going to ramp up the horror or be horror focused in the trailer in the first place, and kind of likes the fact that it took this different science fiction flavors. So take it away with your side, leading Camp A.
Well, I don't want it to seem like I was pissed that the movie wasn't horror. I guess what pissed me off was the marketing. I mean, granted, there's a bunch of TV spots, there's a couple of trailers, there's a bunch of YouTube pre-rolls, and what I'm thinking about the most is I guess these YouTube pre-rolls and these little 25-second spots where it basically is the suicide / killing montage, where in these pre-rolls, in these marketing pieces, you never see the science orb. You never see anything that even alludes to it being a sci-fi type comedy. It plays like a straight sequel to the first one. And again, for people that expected it to not be comedy, like that kind of confused me. I never expected it to not be humorous, but at the same time, it did feel like maybe I'll have to prepare myself and get the actual clips for Saturday. But by that footage, it felt like it was the same thing, the same theme, at least horror comedy with a bunch of different ways to die. I'm not saying that if they did it as science, if they played into the Back to the Future element or Groundhog Day element and treated it more like a comedy, like that would have not pissed me off. Actually, no. If they played into the fact that it was a sci-fi comedy, I'd be more happy with that. I just can't stand this modern marketing thing where they're doing things in these trailers that either aren't in the movie or are like bait and switch, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's just like don't set up one tone in a trailer and then have something completely different for the film itself, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I don't know. Like I said, the only trailer that I really saw was the one that they were playing in theaters, like in front of movies and stuff like that, which kind of probably has a little bit more of an even tone to it than a lot of these little quick rolls. But it shows the only thing in the trailer leads you to believe that there's going to be a lot of deaths, involving the other characters.
Yeah.
Kind of get caught in the crossfire, and she has to kill herself to reset the day. When that's really only the case, like maybe once in the instance where she sees on the news that her boyfriend got killed and she has to run into the fucking power tower really quick. But it's I really never got the impression from the trailer that it was going to be anything but what we got. Like, I didn't really get the whole sci-fi thing, but whenever we got into the movie, and it was, to me, the tone feels very consistent.
Really?
They show that, yeah, to me it does. They show some of the sci-fi stuff in the trailer. Like, they show the little machine for a couple of split seconds. So I figured they were going to dive more into the science, like how this is happening kind of thing. But so yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know if I just saw different trailers or if I just kind of read more into it because I was a bigger fan of the first one than.
I'm gonna have to find these pre-rolls and shit, because like they show the mask. Like if you add up all the time where the masked killer is in like, if you just put all those scenes together, you could go pee, and by the time you're back, all those scenes are over. Like, there's not that much, of the killer, let alone the mask being important.
Yeah, it kind of just bookends the movie. It's the opening with the Asian kid showing that the killer's back and the time loop is back, and then they have all the time loop stuff throughout the middle, and then at the end, oh shit, yeah, we got to save what's her face really quick before I go back. So it's kind of bookends the movie a little bit. So yeah, I can imagine that. And that is, I mean, that even though it's not iconic by any means, that baby face killer image is kind of the thing they have to sell the movie with.
Right.
It's like it's like the hockey mask kind of thing. We got to show the hockey mask. So they kind of splice that into every other scene. Like, oh shit, the killer's out there. And it's not quite that. But yeah, that was kind of the thing where I posted a video on Killer Flicks because it wasn't so much, even though I should have clarified, like in a private message to you and Lee, like, this is not about you.
Oh,
but there was a lot of stupid shit I was seeing in certain comment sections and everything where people were like, oh, dog shit because of this. It should have been this. And I'm like, what fucking movie were you expecting? Like, were you walking into a Friday the 13th movie? What the hell is going on? But I posted a video where I was like, why? It seemed people were mad that they changed it, not necessarily mad that they weren't expecting it. Like, why would you go in this different direction? And I'm like, why do the same movie over and over again? And then I threw the point out because some people were like, they should have shown all this science fiction shit in the trailer to tell us. And I'm like, last week we were bitching because the Pet Sematary trailer showed us everything. Like, you know, have your cake and eat it too thing. So that's kind of where I stood more on the defensive side of it. It felt tone wise very consistent. It's just the levels of the three things, the coming of age character arc, the science fiction, and the horror that we got in the first movie, the levels that they were in were just kind of tweaked a little bit. You know what I mean? So to me, one man's opinion, it felt more consistent than most people seem to have seen.
I think that the thing that bothers me is this ongoing trend. I mean, you brought up the Pet Sematary trailer. I mean, we don't know yet. It could be some misdirection, but I really doubt it. Where they're showing like way too much in trailers, or they're like the Rogue One trailer. Almost everything in that trailer is not in the movie. Like it's mismarketing. Like I don't know, if you showed me a bag of apples and I went to the store and it was actually potatoes, I'd be like, well, what the fuck? What did you show me a bag of apples for? Like it just, you know, just tease the stuff that you're going to show us and tease it. Don't show too much. I guess that was the problem. What did you work with? I'm sorry. There's things that happens in the chat. I'm like, wait, what's going on? This is why you don't look down at the chat. Yeah, I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Squirrel.
Yeah. What was I saying? Shit.
Yeah. Apples, potatoes.
Yeah. It's just market it. You know, give us the thing that you're presenting. I'm not pissed that it was mostly sci-fi. I just want the marketing to resemble that. You know, I don't know. It's not wholly on Happy Death Day to you, as far as I'm concerned. It's marketing as a whole, where it's just, you know, show too much. Like the amount of information that we're getting is too much. And I'd really like to go back to, you know, spaceship over the Empire State Building, July 4th, Independence Day. Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm one of the few people out there that really advocates that don't watch the trailers shit, because there's so many trailers, like, you know, like Pet Sematary is the recent example, which I still haven't watched, but people see the trailer and you talk about it, so it's impossible to avoid the information nowadays. But yeah, I miss those trailers where they would just give you enough. You know, they give you the tone, or they give you a bit of an idea, a bit of a taste, and you go to the movie because that's enough. Most of the time nowadays, like this Child's Play teaser, really, whenever we get the next trailer or whatever, I'm only going to figure out from other people talking if they actually show Chucky speaking. I'm going to fast forward to that point of the trailer just to hear his voice, and that's all I want to see. Like, I don't really want to see anymore. That teaser gave me everything that I need. I was going to buy my ticket before that teaser. So I tend to nowadays try to practice going in as blind as possible, and more times than not, it makes your viewing experience better. Have you talked about this on your channel recently about the split with the Child's Play news and Jennifer Tilly tweeting that she's going to sit this one out, and there's kind of this loyalty thing happening? No, I didn't address the Jennifer Tilly thing or anything like that. I had a very heated discussion on Killer Flicks the other night, which was that guy that was like attacking me for my shirt.
Right. That was long. That one.
Yeah, that was the only discussion I had as far as like the divide and everything. I talked about the TV series a little bit a couple of days after the trailer, but yeah, we had Jennifer Tilly saying "not my Chucky" and all this stuff. I mean, she has to show loyalty to Don Mancini. He's the only motherfucker giving her work nowadays. So it's
yeah, just play your poker and shut up, Jennifer. How about that?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it annoys me how much of a fucking deal they're making out of this, the Universal people side of things. Like, I haven't heard Brad Dourif say anything yet. Maybe he has, but it's mostly Don Mancini and now Jennifer Tilly, where they act like this remake is like ruining their lives, like it's ruining their careers or some shit like that. And I take the stance of, one, you've had free reign to do whatever the hell you want with the Child's Play for 30 years, and look what you've done to it. You know what I mean? It's never going back to the theaters in your hands ever. Some people still like Curse and Cult. I enjoy Curse for what it is. Cult rubs me the wrong way. But aside from that, my other point is, if you're so nervous about this remake succeeding, then that should tell you what the quality of your filmmaking has been like lately. Like, if you were making the shit, nobody would give a fuck about this remake. They'd be like, well, I'm just going to watch this. Why the fuck would I, you know? But so many people are just lost their taste for what Don Mancini has done that not everyone, but there's a lot of people willing to give this remake a chance because it's going back to what we love about Child's Play.
Well, as a Chucky guy, like what's your take on this? I mean, trailer, this information, this news, whatever, being so polarizing. There's a lot of people, like especially in the horror community, that are like, no, boycotting and just, you know, not my hashtag, not my Chucky.
It's fucking idiotic. Like, you're not, unless you're Don Mancini's cousin or some shit like that, you have no reason to show all this loyalty to the guy. Yes, I compare it to George Lucas. Yes, he gave us Child's Play to a degree. Like, I think most of what we know Child's Play to be and most of what we love Child's Play to be is because of Tom Holland, not necessarily Don Mancini, and they just had to kind of pick it up from there.
Sure.
But yes, Don Mancini wrote a lot of the first movie, and he wrote everything since. So absolutely. Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Bride of Chucky. I love those fucking movies. Yes, we wouldn't have him without Don Mancini. But it's just like George Lucas. Yes, he gave us Star Wars. He also gave us the prequels. So it's not disrespectful to say, I don't want you directing them anymore. Thank you for what you did, but let somebody else take the reins. You know, and the whole thing about, go ahead.
The strange thing is, like, if you like Don Mancini stuff, guess what? He's still doing stuff. Like, what's the problem?
That's what I don't understand. Like, it would be one thing if somebody, like, if this remake just fucking cuts him off at the knees and stops everything about that current Universal franchise, and everybody that was a fan of Cult's like, what the fuck? Now we're never going to get a sequel? Fuck this remake. I could get that. I would totally understand that, even though I wouldn't care because I don't really give a shit what happens after Cult. But I would get that. But that's not what is happening. He's still doing his thing. So now you get two Chucky franchises. Right. It's like complaining about the amount of frosting that's on your cake. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, if this remake is awesome, great, we get another awesome Chucky movie. If it sucks, who gives a fuck? We've had numerous remakes that suck, and guess what happens? They go into the fucking ether. They go to the bargain bin at Walmart. We never talk about them again, and we go back to the shit that we love. Nobody, like, I hear this argument all the time about, oh, it's gonna diminish the original, or it's gonna ruin the original movies. How? No one's gonna. It's not like Fahrenheit 451 when they make a remake. They come to your house and blowtorch your fucking movie collection. So that shit's gone. It's not like that. And anybody that says a remake lessens the success of the original, I can't get behind that. The Lost Boys 2 and the Lost Boys 3 were fucking horrible. It doesn't make the Lost Boys any less awesome than it is. The Fog remake was fucking terrible. Guess what? When I say The Fog, I don't think about that. I think about the John Carpenter movie, like
Black Xmas.
Black Christmas. There's another example. Black Xmas, to me, horrendous. If I watch Black Christmas, I'm not going to think about oh man, this used to be awesome, but that fucking Black Xmas movie, that's all I can think about now is fucking Billy and yellow skin and skin cookies. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I see people that say this movie's going to bomb. Why? Because you want it to. I guarantee this movie's, regardless of what the quality is, this could be a shitty movie. It's still going to make more money than the last 3 Child's Play movies combined. Guarantee you. Guarantee you.
Well, that's cheating. I mean, the last 2 weren't in theaters.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're going to be right.
Yeah, it's a touche. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's I don't know. There's a lot of these arguments. If you genuinely do not like the trailer, if it just turns you off, if you think the AI angle is stupid without seeing the movie, obviously your first impressions and everything, if it's just honest to goodness, this doesn't work for me, fair enough. But most of the criticism I hear is like this fanboy shit about like, oh, not my Chucky. Okay, go have your Chucky. I'll take this one. You know what I mean? So I'll take all the good Chuckies. You can have Seed and Cult. Go.
Yeah, so, it is strange that people like he's not possessed, so it's not the same. Yeah, so have you seen the Terminator? Like does it have to be fucking like I don't understand. They complain about a remake, but then the fact that it's something different, or at least it appears to be something different, like you know, give it a chance. Jesus.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like if they were doing like note for note Cliff Notes 1988 Child's Play, I would be like hopefully it's gory or something, maybe something different, but that's disappointing. But they're going in a lot of different directions.
Right.
The AI thing, huge departure.
Right.
The age of Andy, huge departure. We didn't see it in the trailer, but the fact that he has this group of friends that's going to be kind of caught in the chaos, and it's going to have that, summer of '84 Stranger Things appeal to it.
Please kill kids. That'd be so awesome.
Yeah, so like they're doing so many different things, which to me, I say it all the time. If you're going to do a remake to a classic, that's the only fucking thing you should do. Like, don't have the balls to think you can remake A Nightmare on Elm Street and do exactly the same shit that Nightmare on Elm Street did.
Right.
So I don't see any reason to be negative about this movie. You could be realistic. You could be a little bit, I don't know, on the fence about it, but just to be flat out negative, fuck this. I hope it sucks. I hope it makes $2. Whatever. So we started talking about Chucky, and we gained like 20 people watching. So
see that? Chucky, Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can start talking about this Ghostbusters thing, but do you think we should talk about it in this video, or do you want to end this and do another live stream and title it Ghostbusters Controversy or something, and see if we get more people who are intrigued on that end?
It's your party, man. I'm just having the punch.
All right, there we go. So I think we'll do that. So guys, we're gonna close this one down. We're not gonna do a Q&A at the end of this one, but we're gonna close this down. Give me about 5 minutes or so, and we're gonna come on live again and talk about this Ghostbusters controversy that's kind of lit a shitstorm today. So keep your eyes peeled. In about 5 minutes, we'll be live again.